I, much like yourselves I would imagine, is an anime nerd. We both may or may not have a body pillow under our bed with a hole drilled into it, which we do ungodly things to it. So when I heard that the new Quintessential Quintuplets movie is coming out, I'm practically the first one in line. Salty ass popcorn in one hand and a $35 Coke in the other. I was excited to finally check this movie out, and after the long wait, I think it was 6 months when it came to the US, all I have to say is, the movie was pretty mediocre. But before I talk about the movie, I feel like I should talk about the anime as a whole. I mean, I think it's a pretty damn great romance anime. I mean, it's essentially just a harem, so what's there not to love? I like the very start of the anime when he's dreaming at his wedding ceremony, thinking about the first time he met these 5 girls. It's very smart and enticing the way they did it. Each girl has something about them that I could completely understand why someone would pick them. It's like a gang war. You pick your girl and you drive by other people that disagree. You murder them cold blood, essentially. If they don't got your girl, then they don't got their soul with them. There's Nino, the tsundere, the one that will step on your nuts and spit on you, and you're gonna take it and you're gonna like it. She's my personal favorite of the group, and I'm sure you can understand why. And then there's Miku, the shy, introverted type. She's essentially the negative 5-star Gordon Ramsay. And then there's Itsuki, the one that eats and is kind of tsundere as well, but kind of a less bitchy Nino. And then there's the older sister Ichika, the mommy of the group. She's the one that'll give you money and let you suck on her titties, just for the hell of it. Which then leads me to the last one, Yotsuba, the sports girl. The worst one of the group, unfortunately. The way I introduce them is the way I rank them, personally. So who do I think is the best girl? I think there's 2. For the first season, it's gotta be Miku. She was a waifu in that season. She slid up on my boy and did everything she needed to do correctly. But then it switches to Nino. She was definitely the MVP in season 2, man. There was just a lot of scenes with her. A lot of horny scenes with her and Futaro as well. Also, I think the protagonist is pretty good. He's not horny, He follows it by the books and he does what he thinks is right with his gut. So he's a pretty good protagonist, a Chad even, especially in this movie. Overall, I really do think the anime is great. And if I were to give it a number, I'd give it an 8.9 out of 10. Maybe later on I'd cover it and do a deep dive review on this channel. Will this series end like Avengers Endgame, or will it go out like Jack and Jill? But before I get to my opinions on the movie, let's recap it first, for those of you who haven't seen it. So if you haven't seen it, enjoy, because I'm just going to go through the whole movie. Alright, so it kicks off at the wedding ceremony. Futaro is waiting for his bride. I'm gonna call him Fut for now because Futaro is kind of a long ass name. So while he's waiting, he's having a dream about when he first met his bride, which we do not know who it is at this point, but we sure are gonna find out at the end of this movie. And then we go all the way back to the high school days, the glory days, I suppose, when they're planning foods for the festival. Miku wants to do pancakes, but the other kids want to do teriyaki or some shit like that. The girls invite their dad, but they doubt he's gonna show up. So Miku invites Foot to go on a penguin date with her. So on the penguin date, Miku says that she doesn't want to go to college, but wants to study food, and Futaro is totally cool with that. Later on, we see Nino perform a death metal concert where everybody's swinging their hair back and forth. Miku's making some pancakes in the meantime. Later on, we see Foot and the 5 girls in a classroom. He says that he'll tell them which one he likes at the last day of the festival. An old friend meets up with Foot, as we come to realize that this old girl taught Foot everything he knew when they were little. And then we see Ichika's first day at the festival with Foot. Ichika wants to know who he likes already, but Foot's not gonna tell her. So then we see Ichika slapping someone, but we come to realize that it's some random dude on set. The director comes up to Ichika and tells her that one of her sisters has fainted. After visiting her sisters at the hospital, Foot and her go have a nice little walk. So then she asks the question again, who does he like out of all the sisters? So to determine which one of the sisters he likes, he has to pick out one of their favorite drinks. We see Foot walk into a vending machine, so when he comes back, he sees Ichika laying on a bench asleep, and he proceeds to look closely into her lips. Ichika sees him, so she pulls him forward, and they have a big sloppy kiss. And then we switch to Nino's first day with Foot. And nothing really eventful happened. Let's just cut to the second day. She's sad that her dad didn't show up. As it turns out, the dad did show up, but he had to go due to a business meeting or something like that. Probably had an anal stretch meeting. So Foot convinces Nino to take a ride with him to go to her dad's place to feed him some pancakes. They go 95 of the neighborhood just to make it to her dad's. So then we cut to the dad's 50-foot apartment, where we see that they're gonna make some pancakes for him. As it turns out, the dad likes them, but he only wishes that he could eat it with the whole family together. Foot needs to go take a shit, but the dad stops him and tells him thank you for bringing Nino and him together. As Nino and Foot are walking down the hallway to leave, she trips and gives him a big sloppy kiss on the lips. As I'm sure he was with Ichika, this man is rock hard, I presume. And then it switches to the first day with Miku. They want to make up with the teriyaki style. So Foot tells Miku to go make up with them. So that's what Miku does. She goes up and tells them, enough's enough, let's be friends. And they're like, alright. And they feed her teriyaki. But as it turns out, Miku still can't cook shit. So she burns down her own stall. Dawn of the second day, she realizes how much she likes Foot. Cut to the third day. She helps a boy and a girl make up at the top of the school building. That makes Miku frisky, and then she pins Foot to the ground. Okay, now I can guarantee you this man's rock hard. While on top of him, she makes her moves and gives him a sloppy kiss on the lips. Switch to the first day with Yotsuba. Yotsuba takes place for someone to play because they're sick or something. She later on gets a coupon for food, and she sees that Foot is struggling with chairs. A little weak bastard. She gives a coupon to Foot because she sees that he's scrawnier than a green bean. She sprints away and then passes out after seeing Foot's old friend. She gets out of bed and sees Foot at a vending machine. He says that he'll tell her everything that happened in the festival while she was out. Bam! Goes to the third day of the festival. Foot's passed out on the stairs, which Yotsuba sees and gives him a big sloppy kiss on the lips, which wakes him up. So later on we see Itsuki. An old man approaches her and tells her that they need to talk. We see Itsuki and this old man talking, and he explains that he is her biological father. She came out of his nutsack. He says that he's been trying to find the sisters, but he was only able to locate them through Ichika. He saw Ichika's commercial on TV, and he was hoping he could bump some money from them pretty much. Itsuki knows that he's just trying to use the sisters for monetary gain, so she just shoos him away. But before he goes, he explains that he does not want her to be a teacher like her mom. We see Foot and Ichika talking about Itsuki and their father. He explains that she should follow her dreams and not to listen to that bum. Itsuki says that she's gonna be a teacher like her mom, no matter what. Cut to the dad sitting on a bench. He's licking his fingers like he just fingered her girl. He sees who he thinks is Itsuki in the shade part of the tree. He sits up from the bench, gonna go talk to Itsuki, but then he gets bum rushed by the current dad and the sisters. So yeah, I think we'd all tell that's not Itsuki, but Miku in Itsuki's hairstyle. She says if he loved them, he would have recognized her right away, but he gets shitted on and then leaves. Itsuki thanks Foot, but he does not get a kiss in return. Poor man. Later on, we see Foot and his friends, and they ask him which one of the quintuplets he recognized right away. He gets shy and then leaves. It's almost time for the big question. He walks into the building with a bag of one of the quintuplets' favorite drink. The girls cry because they did not make the list. This is when I heard a guy break down in tears at the theater I went to. He walks into a room which has Yotsuba in it, and he gives her the drink. He confesses that he loves her, but Yotsuba does not believe it. She refuses to believe it, so she makes a run for it, with Foot following her. Before he runs down the stairs, he gets encouragement by Itsuki, who tells him to chase her. Cuts to a flashback with Yotsuba and Foot when they were kids. They make a promise to study and do well in school to support their families, so they pray on it like they're Drake. Yotsuba's been studying her balls out, but she just can't get good grades, so they tell her that she's gonna need to move to a different school. We see the girls walk in the classroom and they say that they've been cheating to beat their exams. The flashback ends, and then we cut to Yotsuba and Foot running. Foot trips and explains why he chose her. They made a promise when they were kids to study, and he wants her by her side. Yotsuba says that she does love him, and then proceeds to drip some tears on his face. The next day rolls around, and Ichika says to Foot that he needs a cheer up because Yotsuba does like him. And then we see Nino pushing the shit out of Yotsuba. Goddamn. She's mad that she stole her man. She's not really a big fan of the news. Later on, we see Miku and Yotsuba going to karaoke. Miku explains that she can never be Yotsuba, and that she plans to rebel by not giving advice to Yotsuba. Yotsuba understands why Nino can agree with it. We see Itsuki and Foot fall in class that Nino and Yotsuba go in. They're behind a bunch of chairs and desks. She can't accept the news, but she says that they're rivals, that she better watch out or she'll steal her man. Nino knows that Foot and Itsuki were behind those chairs and tells Foot to watch out for her. We see Foot and Yotsuba at the swing set. Yotsuba jumps from the swing and Foot follows soon after. The swing chain breaks and Foot falls like he's Kratos from God of War. Sing we now, sing for the year, sing. He confesses his love and asks to marry him. She says maybe one day. We see the quintuplets wave off Foot as he goes off to college. Super flash forward to 5 years later. Itsuki picks up super megastar Ichika at the airport. She's pretty much Taylor Swift, I guess. They go to the girls' restaurant. Yotsuba comes in and the girls give their moms earrings to her as a gift. Cuts to the wedding ceremony, where Foot is walking Yotsuba down the walkway. But then it cuts back to the girls all looking alike, as Foot has to choose which one is Yotsuba. He then goes down the line, explaining who they are and why he likes them. First up is Ichika, then Nino, and then Miku, and then he gets baited by Itsuka. Finally, Yotsuba. He then puts on a ring on Yotsuba's finger. Later on, after their ceremony, Yotsuba and Foot talk. Yotsuba throws away her green ribbon as she doesn't need it anymore. She's got a man who can identify her. The 5 quintuplets and Foot then pick on where they want to go for the honeymoon, but they're all being annoying, picking different countries on the world. Some things never change, as Foot says that the quintuplets are so annoying. Finn. So there you have it, the end of the quintuplets, the series finale. Yeah, as I said in the beginning, I think this movie's kind of mediocre. I don't think it's bad, per se. It's just kind of underwhelming. This movie does have a lot of problems in it, which kind of make it a snoozer to go through. But before I talk about the criticisms, I want to go over the things I like. It's kind of like a girlfriend. You want to talk about the good things first, and then proceed to talk about the bad things later on. I'm referring to my body pillow, obviously. First off, it was nice seeing these characters again. I haven't seen the quintuplets anime in like a year, so it's pretty refreshing seeing these characters yet again. They all have a certain mystique about them, I suppose. Honestly, this movie's pretty sweet and wholesome, all things considered, especially the ending. It's, it does pull your heartstrings. I'm talking about the wedding ceremony. It was just nice seeing the finalized version of the series with all of everybody at the wedding ceremony. When he's going down the line of girls, explaining why he likes each of them, that might be the best part of the movie, I think. It's gonna be sad seeing how these characters go, but, I guess that's pretty much all my likes of this movie. Alright, let's switch up to dislikes. First of all, this movie is long as shit, and it's essentially just a festival arc for the finale, which is pretty boring, all things considered. There's nothing wrong with the festival arc, but just for the finale, it just didn't really seem that right to me. Which just makes me think, I feel like this would have worked really well as like a season 3, not a movie. It just felt sort of rushed. Like, if they were given time to make a season 3, it probably would have been on par with season 2 in terms of quality. But I guess they just wanted to use the Demon Slayer route and get as much money using the movie format. If they stuck with another season format, I'm sure it would have been fine. It's like so much happened in such a long time, which makes it feel so slow and rushed. This movie is so fast-paced, yet slow at the same time. It's just fucking weird. It's like a 2-hour edging session. There's a lot going on, but not much at the same time. I guess you could sort of fit that into pacing too. The pacing in this movie is just not right. Like the biological dad coming through and saying that he wants to be part of the family. I honestly forgot about that part until I was rewatching this movie. Overall, the movie just felt boring, which is my major criticism. And then there's the actual quintuplet who got picked itself. It's fine the way they did it. It's just like, I feel like she's the least impactful one of the group. All I could describe about her is that she's a sports girl and studies hard. We never really see her and Foot hang out all that much. And sure, you could say that they hung out during the flashbacks, but that doesn't really count. I need to see stuff that happened in the anime. I only remember them hanging out at the swing set one time, and I don't even know what they were talking about. Okay, you could call me a hater and tell me to cope, but come on, let's be honest. She's the worst one. No, I don't think it should be Nino either. I think she's too much of a bitch. And not only in this movie, but during the seasons. I only like her just because she's a feisty woman. And God knows I love feisty women. It probably should have been Miku or Itsuki. I mean, the series literally started with Fut and Itsuki eating lunch together. But I do think the best choice is Miku. She loves the shit out of Futaro. She was the first one to develop feelings for Fut. I guess the flashback does explain it all, that she was the first one who made a pact with him. But I don't know, having a flashback to finish the movie just feels kind of weird. And not the current events that happened in the anime. Ultimately, I think this is kind of a disappointing way to end the series. But again, it's not the worst thing I've ever seen. It's just sort of a snoozer to watch. I'd give this movie a 5.5 out of 10. Again, it's not bad, it's just boring. Feel free to tell me that my opinion's trash in the comments below. It's just one brain cell man's opinion. Don't forget to leave a like and subscribe. Peace out.